What up, everybody? This is your boy Theo Pinson here. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any Run Your Race content. We've talked about it, but go ahead and get into like when you started getting out nationally and trying to compete against the best. Talk about that 5-star camp that you went to.
Yeah, I mean, the first, I come from like a small city, right?
Yeah.
Especially back in the day, like we didn't have an AU. My dad started the first AU program in my city.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
we went around, we started playing these teams and played in Albany and stuff. And it was like, all right, let's see how good
We really are.
one, yeah, I am. But like, I had a couple boys that were really, that ended up playing high school with me that were good too for our area. And I was, I went to, started going to Albany, and then it was like New York City, and then it was like I'm
right
nice.
Yeah.
Like I'm right here.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, especially at that time, like I was 7th grade, but I was 5'10". Like I was big, I could rebound, I could push it, I could shoot it, I was skilled. And then I never grew again.
That'll do it.
Yeah. And then I mean, it was like I went to 5-star, the sophomore camp, and it was like LeBron, Chris Paul, Mike Jones played at Maryland. Leon Poe, I think, was there. There was just a bunch of dudes. And I made the all-star team. And, Howard Garfinkel, me, he loved my work ethic. I got station 13. So they have 12 stations, right? So station 13 is extra work.
Yeah.
And I never missed that in 4 years of going to 5-star.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's 6:30 in the morning, you go. It was extra work. And I never missed it. So I always got station 13. So Garf always loved that about me. So like he pulled me up to play in like the NBA. And it was like Delonte West was up there, and at the time you don't think anything of it, right?
Yeah.
Even with LeBron, it was like you see him as a sophomore, you're like, yo, why is he built like that?
Yeah.
Right? But you're cocky at the same time. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I can still go
until you
realize
what that is.
Yeah.
So
man, you're seeing him.
I'm seeing him as a sophomore, as a peer, like everybody's talking about him, right?
Yeah.
Like Howard Garfinkel was like, he'll be the best player in the world one day. And I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And then he just started, you know what I mean? He started.
Then he took off.
Oh my gosh. Like he's different.
Who was somebody at 5-star, because like, other than Bron, of course, that people don't know about or forgot about that you were there? Because a couple of names that you just named, like, of course, Chris was there, you were there.
Yeah.
Like this.
You remember Mustafa Shakur? Played at Arizona. He was from Philly. He was, I want to say he was right behind Chris in the rankings. Bad dude.
Nice. Guard.
What? Crazy nice. He was cold. And he fit that game because we played outside. And he's from Philly.
Oh yeah.
And he was a bad boy. So I mean, a lot of people don't talk about Mustafa anymore, but man, he was tough. Who else was out there?
It was 5-star camp. Bring back memories.
It used to be what it was.
That's what it was.
And and then yeah, I mean, Chris was the one that like.
Was that the one you wanted to go?
I wanted him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he was just different, but like that's what it was. It was good for me to see him.
For sure.
Right?
Because you knew where you wanted to go.
I knew it. Like I'm like, all right, like, I can, he's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know about hanging with him, but I was, I could be on the court with him together. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But that's what I'm saying. Back in the day, those were guys like you wanted. If you were a competitor, you just were like, man, I just want to compete. And it was cool. Like looking back, like even talking to my son, he's like, oh, who'd you play against? I'm like, man, some good players.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's cool.
What was the everyone has this I feel like at different stages of life with high school, college, and then when you get to professional or whatever you're doing at that point, there's an eye-opening moment.
LeBron.
As soon as you saw that, you was like, oh.
As soon as he punched my shot over 2 courts, I was like, like, what is this? You know, it was like, because back in 5-star, like all coaches were there.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, oh. And I was good back then too. And I'm like, I just remember, I'm like, oh, I got lay. I'm getting scholarships.
Yeah.
Like everybody right here. I'm like, ha. So they had court.
Tossed it.
What? Toss. He threw it over 3 courts. I said, oh man. I said, this is what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, and LeBron obviously is way different, but I'll never forget that moment when he punched it.
Yeah.
Like volleyballed it. He probably timed it. He probably saw it. But that was my moment of like seeing it. And then, you know, I played against the UConn teams at West Virginia that won the national championship.
Shout out to Prize Picks, the presenting partner of Run Your Race, the daily fantasy sports game.
Head over to prizepicks.com or the app. Prize Picks makes it super easy, and it takes less than 60 seconds to make your entry.
As AJ said, it's very easy. You pick between 2 to 6 players. It's a skill-based fantasy game. You don't play against anyone. You're playing against the Prize Picks projections. It's simple. It's either more or less. Prize Picks also is matching your first $100 deposit. So if you put in $100, they match $100. But if you put in $20, they match $20.
Go to prizepicks.com/race and use code RACE for your first deposit match up to $100.